It has been pretty consistent here lately. We've been getting the chipmunk voice. Don't know why. But let me see if I can find this particular broadcast, and then we'll be able to tell. Bear with me here, folks, while I try to get this going. Testing 1, 2.
Pretty consistent here lately. We've been getting the chipmunk voice.
Okay, we are going to have to reboot. So that's how that works. I don't know what's going on here, folks, but we're going to reboot.
Again, we're going live for the second time here, and we're going to see if we have the chipmunk voice now. See if I can refresh this and see what's going on.
Tell.
Okay. Usually I have to refresh it a couple times before I can tell.
Bear with me here, folks, while I try to get this going. Testing 1, 2.
Don't know if that's live or not.
Bear with me here, folks, while I try to get this
Let
going.
me know in the chat if we got rid of the chipmunk voice, because I'm having trouble getting it reloaded so that I can hear the current stream.
Tell.
So let me know in the chat, folks, what you all are hearing, if you're hearing the chipmunk voice or not. It's a pain in the neck. I wish I could figure out what causes it.
Tell. Bear with me here, folks, while I try to get this going. Testing 1, 2.
Okay, so let's see. Don't see anything yet in the chat as to whether or not we have the chipmunk voice now or not. And for some reason I can't get this to reload so that I can check it live.
Tell. Bear with me here, folks, while I try to get this going.
Let's see. Thomas says reboot. Let me know, folks, if we've got the chipmunk voice now or if we're back to the correct voice. Let's see if I can get this to reload finally here.
Tell. Bear with me here, folks, while I try to get this going. Testing 1, 2.
Yeah, I can't. I'm going to have to rely on you guys in the chat to let me know.
Tell.
To let me know what we've got, because it just keeps giving me the same thing. Let's see here. Thomas, I said that in my head. Archie's voice. Okay, if somebody can just let me know what the audio is like now, let me know in the chat, because if it's still an issue, then I'll reboot again. So let me know, Thomas, if the audio sounds correct now, because I can't get a current read on it. I can't get the current feed up here. Can just let me know. Oh, okay, now I finally got it up. Okay, so the audio does sound good. Okay, Carlos says audio's good. Eric says audio's good. Okay, so here we go. So, couple quick things. I've dug out this old gas bones strap, and I put it on the 005, and here's what it looks like. I got this with some other watch that I bought some years ago, and I've got a video on my channel, and I've never really used it, never really liked it much, but I had it laying around, and it fits on this watch nicely. And so for summertime, it might be an interesting thing to have, because you know the problem with your wrist expanding and contracting with the bracelet with this watch has no micro adjustments, right? So this is something that possibly I could use in the summertime. I'm not sure if I will or not, but it's kind of interesting. And then another thing I wanted to mention is these folks sent me this watch case for traveling. They actually sent me 2 of them, and it's Vario, V-A-R-I-O, so it's vario.sg is their website address, vario.sg, and they sent me 2 of these things. These are for when you travel. Throw that down over there. For when you're traveling. It's a pretty cool little watch case. Just has a zipper. All right. And then, yeah, you put your watch in here, and then it's got this elastic I don't know what you put in there. I don't know why you would really need that, but maybe you need that for something. But basically the watch just goes right in there, and it's all nice and soft, nice padding in here. I'm sure it would protect the watch nicely if you're traveling. So there you go. They sent me a couple of these to take a look at, so seems pretty well made. VARIO. So there you go, folks. All right, so Bitcoin was pumping, and then a whale stepped in not too long ago and dumped some Bitcoin. Let me see if I can get this reloaded so I can get a chart up here. Exciting times. It's always exciting with Bitcoin. Bitcoin is not something for the faint at heart. So there we go. See that big red candle there? Bitcoin was up around, I think, like 13.7 or something. Let's see here. It was up, yeah, 13.7, somewhere right around in there. And then a whale stepped in and dumped a bunch of Bitcoin. But we're still at 12,300 as we speak. So amazing pumping the last few days. Insane price action on Bitcoin, but this is not unusual. This is not unusual for Bitcoin to go up and Bitcoin to go down. Where it lands, nobody knows. Joey's in the house. Let's see. I think you put your watch in the elasticated bit. I think the tan watch band looks good, Craig. Our Wags. Nice watch case. I decline on the GS GMT quartz because of no micro, but love my GS diver 18 days in and shy of 360. Oh yeah, the diver is just fantastic. It's normally on my wrist. The only reason I put this on now is because I'm showing the Gas Bones strap. But it's coming off as soon as I finish the show, and the diver will be back on my wrist. The amazing diver. It's insane how accurate that puppy is. And how comfortable it is on wrist. Absolutely insane. When I had one of my Tissot service, they gave me a fabric glasses case as a pouch. Okay, there you go. The Applegate experience is in the house. Good afternoon. The market is crazy. Well, there you go. Bitcoin, that's what Bitcoin does. Bitcoin goes up and Bitcoin goes down. But over the long haul, it's been pretty good performer for anyone that's been holding it for a while. I've been trying to convince Mr. Applegate to get rid of all the altcoins and just hold Bitcoin. Just forget the altcoins, folks. The altcoins are not going anywhere. Those are all pretty much scams. So now this is not financial advice, but I never recommend anybody buy altcoins. Always, if you want to get into, and I don't like to use the term cryptocurrency because there's Bitcoin and that's it. The cryptocurrencies with an S, there's no reason to say that because there's no reason for any of the other products out there. Because if Bitcoin fails, here's a news flash for everybody. If Bitcoin doesn't work out, none of the others are going to work out. Because Bitcoin's our only chance at having a truly decentralized worldwide currency and store of value. It is our only chance. Full stop. So, bet on Bitcoin. If Bitcoin wins, we're all good. If it doesn't, everything else is going to fail anyway, so it doesn't make any difference. It's our best shot, folks. It's just the way it is. Okay, this is to Joey. Did you go for a high beat or spring drive? The one Craig has. Well, there you go. A 231. A 231 spring drive. Absolutely. That's the way to go. Positively. And that's the way to go. You don't want the stainless steel version. This is just much more comfortable on wrist. Looks great. Has a lot of advantages over the stainless steel model. Is that 229? Is that the model? So yeah, stick with the this one, the 231. you ever tried one of those limited edition Grande Seiko divers? It's similar to the one you have, but it has a date window at the 4 o'clock. You talking about the big monster, the 600 meter? Yeah, that's too big, in my opinion, for an everyday watch. I'd stick with the one we have. Let's see. You playing with the house money now with Bitcoin, Mike in the house? Well, yeah, I have been for a long time. I took my initial investment off the table in 2017, so I've been playing with the house money for a while. Absolutely. Well, I took, and then some. I took some significant profits as well. My dad always told me real estate and then gold as investment advice. I own a lot of real estate. I'm a big fan of real estate. Absolutely. I have some gold, but gold's not, it doesn't perform very well over time. It's not a very good investment, but it's good to have some here and there, I guess, laying around. I really like the high beat monoblock diver. Okay. A little bit bulky, that watch. Applegate experience in the house. Bitcoin is king and will rule the blockchain trade market for years to come. Yeah, we don't need any other blockchain products. That there's really no use case for the blockchain for this technology other than Bitcoin. All the others, none of them make any sense. They're all pretty much pie in the sky, ridiculous concepts that are generally centralized and generally of no real use. So yeah, we'll just pass on all those and just buy and hold Bitcoin, folks. That's what I've been telling you guys for years. Buy and hold Bitcoin. Don't fool around with the next Bitcoin. People say, I want the next There is no next Bitcoin. If Bitcoin fails, we're done. We're done with this experiment. David's in the house. Hi, Craig, and all running errands. We'll have to catch replay. In motion, David Williams is out making things happen. Has your father bought any Bitcoin? Yeah, he bought a bunch of Bitcoin back years ago. Yeah, absolutely. Yep, he owns a nice chunk of Bitcoin. Let's see here. He also bought the GBTC, that fund that you can buy in your IRAs and things like that. He bought that as well. I'm not a big fan of that. I like just owning just the Bitcoin, but he bought that as well, and he's made a lot of money on that also. So yeah, he's done very well in the Bitcoin sector, if you will. Let's see here. Got a small scratch on my SPGR 311 bezel. Sad but proud that I'm using the watch. Absolutely. Yeah, that's the thing about these watches, folks. Use them. Use them and enjoy them. Taking the bracelet off of this was not easy, folks, when you can't, especially when you can't see very well. I'm like, am I going to scratch the lug or whatever? And I'm like, well, if it gets scratched, it gets scratched. I don't think I did. Of course, I wouldn't be able to tell if I probably did. My eyes aren't that good, but anyway, it looks pretty good. But yeah, you're going to get little scratches here and there. That's just the way it goes, unless it's a safe queen or box queen, in which case you should probably put your money somewhere else anyway. Having a watch sitting in a box makes pretty much no sense at all. Let's see here. Watch doctor, at least you're using the watch. Absolutely. Let's see, what else were we going to talk about in this show? Oh yeah, so here's the thing. Bitcoin is pulling back a little bit right now. It's down to about 12,000. So it had a nice run up there. It was up, like I say, around 13.7 or so, something like that. It's had a little pullback here. Some whales are dumping some pretty big chunks of Bitcoin. And here's the thing about this is the longer Bitcoin survives, and the more Bitcoin is transferred from the early adopters to other users around the world, the stronger it will get. If it remains an asset where a small group of people own big chunks of it, that's not good. That's not a good thing. It's better that it be more distributed. So I like to see a whale, an early adopter, taking some profits like this and selling some and letting other people grab it up and get it more distributed. That's a good thing. It's painful to go through all these big ups and downs and have to watch all this sometimes, but it is a good thing that this happens sometimes. The Applegate Experience did a super chat. Bitcoin accepted at foodchain.fund. There you go, foodchain.fund. Little super chat from Mr. Applegate. There you go. Let's see. At what price point, Craig, would you take more profits? What would you take? Or is it strictly a date, what you mentioned in the past? I would say maybe 100,000. When Bitcoin hits 100,000, I might sell a few, but not before that. So, generally speaking, I'm holding until 2028 is my target. But if we have a huge run up at some point and it hits 100,000 a coin, I might sell a couple of coins. You know, a small part of my holdings. I might sell a couple of them. Let's see here. Our WAGs, Watch Doctor, it was 7,600 in June 2019. Okay, there you go. Yeah, it had quite a run up here the last few days. It's like, and I remember in 2017, you remember, we had, in 3 weeks' time, we had a run up from like $9,000 to like $20,000. I mean, you know, it just, in 3 weeks' time, it just went crazy. So it's capable of doing this. It'd be interesting to see really where the new money's coming from, because people say that there's some institutional money starting to come into the space. And I don't know about that. I don't know how much institutional money's coming in yet. I think that's still kind of limited. I saw a chart somewhere that showed money coming in, and a lot of the money's coming in from Tether, which means it's other people that had other cryptocurrencies. Maybe they're going out of altcoins into Bitcoin. I don't know really how much of this money really is institutional money at this point yet. I think it's getting ready. I think it's going to come in. Our WAGs, maybe you can chime in the comments and with your thoughts as to whether or not there really is any kind of significant institutional money yet. I think it's still yet to come. And when that starts happening, I think we're really going to see some interesting times. Let me refresh this and make sure that I'm not missing anything here. This is not going to be a protracted broadcast. I got a video I'm working on that I just shot that I really should finish up and get that uploaded. But let me think what else. And again, and for those who didn't watch the other day, I do want to congratulate Carlos on his Patek that he picked up and shared with us on the show. Was that yesterday? I keep losing track of time. I think it was yesterday's show. So definitely check that out if you missed that. That was really cool. A lot of volume today, 41 billion. So, Mike, what do you think? What are your thoughts on, do you think we're seeing much in the way of institutional volume? Now, there was a organization that was approved in New York to do futures trading, I think. I think it was approved today. I think I saw something about that. And it's physically settled. So that means that people are going to have to actually have Bitcoin. So that might be interesting, but that might take a while for that to start happening. Craig, your father has been a pretty shrewd investor. What important investment principles has he taught you? Well, he is pretty good at timing things. He bought a lot of real estate back in the 70s, mid 70s to late 70s or whatever, in Montgomery County, Maryland, which is a very hot market. And he had a bunch of rental properties, and those rental properties went up in value fairly significantly. And then he sold a number of them and took back first trusts when the interest rates were very high. Okay? So he sold the properties, took back the firsts, and started getting, big interest from these people. Now, eventually some of them would refinance and stuff like that, but, he made some really good money on that. And then he got into the stock market when the stock market really started going crazy. So his timing on some of these things has been very good. And he and my mom has since passed away, but my mom was very frugal. They both were very frugal and always saved and always watched the expenses. So yeah, and he, of course, has now made some money on Bitcoin, but he's also given away a lot of money. And he continues to give away a lot of money. So, yeah, I think he's done well. Let's see here. Archie just released a new video about how Seikos are for losers. Yeah, I saw that. I think he's doing it for views. He just said not long ago that he loves the brand. Well, Grande Seiko. Let's separate the two. Grande Seiko is pretty amazing. Seiko, some of the models are okay, but some not so much. But you got to be careful with Seiko. You got to be careful what you buy, I think. But Grande Seiko, I think you're pretty safe whatever you buy. You're going to get a really high quality unit. And in many cases, a better watch than a Rolex, for example. We've talked about all that at length. And Archie, yes, he'll do anything for views and clicks and so on. I mean, he's in it for the money. He's made that fairly clear, I think. Rolex Hater says, butt coin, there you go. Eric, CPOP, he's doing it because Bark and Jack bought a Grande Seiko. Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah, and it's clickbait, right? Everybody's going to watch it and talk about it. It's going to work. It's working. It's doing what he wanted it to do. Surely he would have titled the video Grande Seiko rather than Seiko if that was the case. No. Well, he talked about Grande Seiko in the video as well. He talked about both, and he did say some kind of favorable things about Grande Seiko, but then proceeded to say you shouldn't buy it, and because we're snobs, you should buy a Rolex and so on. I mean, his case is valid if all you care about is the name, the brand name, and what people are going to think about your watch, and being in the forums and having people respect what you have and all that. Buying the Rolex is the way to go. If you want a better watch to wear on a daily basis, then buying the Grande Seiko is the way to go. So it all depends on your motivation, what you're trying to do. I try to buy the better watch myself. I'm in it for a high quality watch. That's why I wore Rolexes for 40 years. They were very high quality. They really served the purpose. Only reason I switched to Grande Seiko is they're just a better watch. I mean, and that's not subjective. That's objectively true. In many ways, they're a better watch. Okay, so I think you'll know when big institutions come in, the price will become more stable. Okay, we'll see. Finally wearing a shirt made this century. Let's see, this century, you mean in the 2000s? I don't know if this was made in the 2000s. Possible. It's a Fila. I wore it for tennis. I'm not so sure. Probably was not, but it's not. It's close. Probably about 20 years old. Let's see here. let's see. On the Bitcoin front, there seems to be no noticeable institutional action in Bitcoin. Once it does happen, just fasten your seatbelt. Institutions are conservative and come later to the party. Okay. Craig, did you check Mark Goldberg's comparison between the GS Diver and the Submariner? Good comparison. Yes, I did see it. And he really should have gotten the 231, this one. That would have been a better comparison, because then the gap widens even more between Grande Seiko and the Sub. It's just so much more comfortable on wrist with the titanium. So yeah, I would have gone with the titanium version, but I thought his review and all was okay. I think he was, pretty straightforward and honest for somebody who's really in the Rolex camp. I think he gave it a pretty good shake. So there's that. But I did correct him on the investment thing. I put a comment in there. I don't know if he deleted it or not, but when he was comparing the prices and saying that you're not going to lose money on the Rolex, but you will on the Grande Seiko, I tried to correct him on that by basically saying, here's the deal. If you buy the Grande Seiko instead of the Rolex, you've got $5,000 in your pocket, because it's about $5,000 less money, right? And if you take that $5,000 and you invest it, we've talked about this before, every 7 years it should double. So in 14 years, you'd have $20,000 in cash and the Grande Seiko watch. So you'd have $20,000 plus the watch. The Rolex is not going to be worth $20,000 more. That's not going to happen. So actually you would come out financially ahead if you bought the Grande Seiko. And he implied that the opposite would be true. He didn't take into consideration the difference in price between the two, and the fact that you could take the difference in price and you could invest that and get a return on that money. So he didn't, as is often the case, a lot of people are challenged when it comes to math. They just don't do the math. Let's see. Adrian from Narkenjack compared the GS and Rolex. Adrian is very fair in his assessment. You mean Barkenjack? Yes. I thought it was a good video. Yeah, absolutely. Why is his channel called Barkenjack? Did we just want the initials B and J? That's a good question. Eric, CPOP. Yeah, Mark also compared the GS and Rolex dive watches. He gave some advantages for GS, like the fit. He gave some advantages to Rolex as well. Yeah, absolutely. What do you think of the Seiko Presage cocktail time with power reserve? I haven't seen it. I'm not real familiar with it, so I can't really comment on that one. Let's see. The GS diver is $5,000 cheaper. That's correct. You can buy, generally speaking, you're going to pay for the Rolex Submariner, you're going to pay $10,000. Let's round off numbers here. If you can get one, right? They're not that easy to get. And you can easily get the diver for $5,000, the GS. The one that he has, the steel one, you should be able to get for $4,500. So yeah, half price, basically. You can even buy that one pretty often for around $5,000, the titanium version. Okay, and it's a more expensive model. So yes, you can. Let's see here. Rolex hater. I have a cocktail limited edition, some Presage with the snowflake dial and power reserve. It's nice and probably the best Presage model in my opinion. Well, there you go. Craig, a big hello from Atlanta. Another Craig is in the house. The GS Diver 231 retails for $7,100. The Rolex no date is $7,500. Yeah, but we're not talking about retail prices. We're talking about what you can actually buy them for. I always talk about what you can actually buy something for. I mean, you can't go in and buy the Rolex for $7,500. No, nobody has it. So you've got to pay more than that if you want to get one today, right? And the 231 you can easily buy for around 5,000. Go on eBay right now and search. You should be able to buy one for 5,000. So there you go. It's like the butcher, you know, has the big sign, you know, porterhouse steaks, $2.99 a pound, you know, and then you go in, there's none in the case. You know, I mean, it doesn't do any good to have a low price if there's none available, right? You have to go to where they're available, and you got to pay. You got to pay the piper. Let's see here. Sorry, I bought a Speedy at an 80 7 months ago. I went back a couple of weeks ago, asked to be on a wait list for a ceramic sub. The agent initially refused, but realized I was on the system already. I'm not sure what you mean by that. Okay. Adrian loves the GS he just bought. Yeah, he does seem to like it. Eric, okay, just ordered the normal blue dial version. I hope the dial looks as nice in person as it does in pictures. Are you talking about this watch with the blue dial? It looks fantastic, especially when the light hits it just right. Let me see if I can pull up that stunning photo that I have of it. Da, da, da. Give me a second here, and then we're going to wrap this puppy up here pretty soon. Let's see. Let's go full screen with this so I can show you. Yeah, this is what it looks like when the sun hits that puppy just right. Looks pretty cool. Pretty freaking cool. Now he's saying he can help me and get my wallet ready because it's going to be quick. Well, there you go. Craig, why do you think the watch content gets the most traction on this channel? Craig, why do you think the watch content gets the most traction on this channel? Some of my product reviews get a lot more views than any of these watch videos. Now, I do have a couple of watch videos that got a lot of views. The video on the SBDC 007 Shogun, I think it has like 700,000 views or something, or 800,000. It has a lot of views. So I have a couple of watch videos that have a lot of views, but I have a lot of product review videos of camera gear, audio gear, other stuff that has a fair amount of views. Yeah, it varies. It all depends on the subject matter and how interesting they are to people that are searching. When people are searching on YouTube, the discoverability and whether or not YouTube surfaces the video right when they're searching. So that those are all the things that really control how many views the video gets. These videos, these live streams, do okay for the first couple days or so or whatever, but then they don't necessarily continue to get a lot of views over time. The produced videos, like the product review videos and things like that, over time, a lot of times they'll get more views. So, but I don't engineer my content to get the maximum number of views. I engineer my content to solve a problem, to either answer a question or to help somebody with something or to help promote a sponsor, because you don't make that much money on YouTube monetization. As a matter of fact, a fair number of my videos I don't even monetize with ads. So because you get paid so little. So I use the videos to achieve other goals, other purposes, if that makes any sense. So I'm just pleased that I get free hosting for all my videos. Like I just did another business story video for a business down in Montgomery County that's a longtime sponsor of one of my websites, and I'm going to put it up on YouTube. I'm going to put it up on Facebook. I'm going to put it up on Vimeo. And in effect, I'm getting free hosting on that video, which I'll then put on his webpage and help promote his business and so on. So I'm just pleased that I get free hosting for all of this content. And then the fact that I can monetize some of it and get some money for some of it, that's like gravy. Let's see. Craig, what's a whale when talking about Bitcoin? Excuse me. Drink some more. Oh boy, I got to get a cough button. Okay, when I use the term whale, I'm talking about somebody who got in really early or even got in later and bought a lot of Bitcoin. But usually the people that have a lot of Bitcoin, in other words, people that have like thousands of Bitcoin, maybe 10,000 Bitcoin or something, just a huge number of Bitcoin. Most of them got in early because it was cheap enough to accumulate that much Bitcoin. And so when I'm talking about a whale, I'm talking about somebody who has a large holding of Bitcoin. And they can step in and they can dump a big chunk of Bitcoin and really affect the market. Okay? So that's who I'm talking about. And I think that it is a good thing. People say, well, everybody should just hold and just let the price go really high, right? I mean, don't sell. Everybody hold. Have a strong hand. But the problem with that is the only way Bitcoin survives long term is if it's widely distributed amongst a lot of people, particularly all around the world. That will make it stronger if it has a big base of holders and users. Right? Long term, that's a good thing. So the fact that some of these whales dump big chunks of their Bitcoin on an exchange and other people kind of scarf it up, that slowly but surely is getting it distributed. Now, they're smart enough to know that they don't want to dump it all at once and they don't want to totally crash the market. So they'll dump out, big chunks here and there and then let the market recover and then maybe dump out some more, right? But over time, the more people that own it, the better, I think. That's my thought process. So every day that we survive that a new person here and there accumulates a small amount of Bitcoin, that's a good thing. Do you miss your snowflake and why did you sell it? I just love the watch. It's not that readable for me. For my old eyes, it was not that readable, and also it was not thin enough to wear as a dress watch. This watch is a little thinner, not on this strap that it's on now, but on the factory bracelet it's thinner and a little smaller. It's 39 mils by about 12.1 mils thick. So this one is small enough to wear as a dress watch. The snowflake was on my cuffs was a little bit tight. And so it didn't really serve the purpose of an all-arounder from a standpoint of a dress watch and a sport watch and so on. It really was kind of like an in-between, stuck in-between watch for me. And since I have the diver as a sport watch, as a heavy-use sport watch, I didn't really need another watch to use kind of as a heavy-use sport watch. I needed something that was could go more towards dress orientation, so be slim enough to go underneath a dress cuff, and the snowflake just really didn't fit that bill. So and this one is so much more readable, so much more legible for my 61-year-old eyes. So if I was a younger person and had better eyes, maybe I'd still have the snowflake. But yeah, I don't keep watches around just to keep them around. If I'm not using them and enjoying them, they go. They're gone. So, Craig, what did you think of Enron at the time it was going on? I didn't really pay much attention to it. I didn't really care. So, Winklevoss trends have over 1 billion in Bitcoin. They're definitely whales. Craig, I'm being called for dinner. Have a great evening. Well, there you go. Have a good dinner. Enjoy that dinner. Yeah, the Winklevoss twins you could definitely call whales. I think they bought when it was single digits, you know, $8 a coin or something. And they bought a bunch, and yeah, they're in pretty good shape right now. Let's see here. I think we're going to wrap this up here pretty soon. Let me know if you have any other questions. Do you own or want to buy the Grande Seiko GMT? Well, this one's a GMT. Here's a close-up of it. That's a GMT. Yep, it's on my wrist. So yes, I do have a GMT. And it's fantastic. I've got a full review here on my channel on that particular watch, so take a look. And I'll probably be doing another updated review pretty soon. Let me think what else. Just reload this page here. And it's all right. Yeah, I just want to make sure I'm up to date on the comments here. Grande Seiko Peacock dial. Okay. Rolex hater, where did you get your NATO strap? Okay, so I put it's not really a NATO, this is a Gas Bones strap, and I put a link in the description to the Gas Bones website. They're in the UK, and they'll make whatever kind of strap you want. They custom make them. This actually came with another watch that I bought years ago, like 4 or 5 years ago, and the guy included it with the watch, and I really never used it much. I used it a couple times, and I don't think I'm going to use it much now either. It's okay. I'm just not a fan of this kind of strap at all, and NATO's or any of that kind of stuff. Now Mo's Legacy Straps, I think it is, he's sending me a strap to check out, and we'll see what that's like. But I mean, and this would be a good solution for the summertime for this particular watch because there are no micro adjustments. So it would be a good solution if I didn't have the diver. But you know, I'll generally, on hot days and so forth in the summertime, I'm generally going to be wearing the diver. Now, if I didn't have the diver, then I would entertain wearing something like this in the summer, and then putting the steel bracelet back on in the winter. In the wintertime, my wrist doesn't swell up. It kind of stays consistently about 7.25 inches. In the summertime, it goes anywhere from 7.25 to like 7.5. It kind of, you know, on a hot, humid day, it'll go up to like 7.5, and then in the air conditioning all day long, it'll be like 7.25. So in the summertime, a strap like this would probably make a lot of sense if this was a year-round watch, if I was wearing it all the time, right? But I'm not, so I don't really need it because I've got that to wear when it's hot. So there you go. That's my favorite GMT watch. It's fantastic, this one with the blue dial. I mean, it's a stunner. It really is. If they could figure out a way to put micro adjustments on that clasp without making it too thick or anything, just put micro adjustments on it, they'd have a home run. They'd have an absolute home run. Let's see, NATO straps get dirty. You can't rinse them off like a bracelet. Well, except this one is all nylon. So this one you could probably clean pretty easily. You know, I'm sure it's going to show wear and tear over time, and but since it's all nylon, you could clean it some, and it seems to be really well made. I will give Gas Bones, all the stitching and everything seems to be, you know, well made on the thing. So I'm just not a big fan of this kind of thing. I mean, it just wouldn't be my first choice, but I figured I'd throw it on here and, you know, just try it out. And let me give you another shot. another shot of it here on my Flickr. I put a link in the description to it on Flickr as well, so you guys can take a look. There's a picture of it on the watch, and it just happened to fit and everything, so I figured I'd just put it on and play around with it. Let's see. I like rubber straps in summer. I just run water over the entire watch to clean. That makes sense. NATO straps can be bought so cheap that I just throw them away and buy another. Yeah, but these are a little bit pricey. These gas bones straps. You know, they're custom made, and they're like I say, they're really well made. They're not like, they're really not a throwaway item, I don't think. So at least they wouldn't be for me. So let's see. Coinbase just went down as the price dropped from 13,814 to 11,550. Talk about dodgy. Stopped people selling too early. Manipulation is the downside of crypto. My BC are safe in my own wallet. My Bitcoin is all, I don't keep anything on an exchange. No, I wouldn't keep, I would only leave Bitcoin on there when you're getting ready to sell it, or, you know, when you actually need it to be on the exchange. But no, I would definitely not recommend keeping anything on there. It's not down for me. I just refreshed, and it's not acting like it's down here. And it's showing we're at 12,432. Let me go to CoinMarketCap and see what that says. Refresh this puppy. CoinMarketCap is showing 12,600. Still a 24-hour gain of almost 10%. And the good number here, Bitcoin dominance at 62%. That's very good. The higher that number, the better. If we can flush out and get rid of all these garbage altcoins, then we'll be on the right track. But yeah, people always looking for something cheaper that they can buy. They don't understand that they're garbage. But obviously with the Bitcoin dominance number going up, more and more people are starting to realize that those altcoins are absolute garbage, and hopefully we can get rid of them. Get rid of them. Okay, let's see here. Well, here's the thing. I mean, people say manipulation, but I mean, it's not manipulation if some whale just decides to dump a bunch of Bitcoin and the price goes down. That's supply and demand. I mean, I think a lot of these movements are just simply somebody selling. I wouldn't call it manipulation. It's just somebody selling some Bitcoin. And of course it's volatile because the volume is not super high, right? So if somebody goes in with a big chunk of Bitcoin, of course it's going to drive the price down. It's still a very young market. Let's see here. Is it socially acceptable for a man to wear a dark blue velvet blazer made in France? Maybe. Hey, nowadays, have you seen the way people dress? Have you seen the way people get like tattoos all up their arm and down the other side and on their neck and everything else? I mean, you talk about socially acceptable. They like stretch their eardrums, put big holes, and they stretch their eardrums open, and they put like lip rings and stuff. And you're talking about socially acceptable? I think it's pretty much anything goes at this point. I think the least of your worries would be a velvet sport coat. I wouldn't wear one, but yeah, I don't know why not. What the heck? Let's see. Almost for 0 to I got an Alpinist instead, which I'm wearing now with a green olive NATO to match the green dial. There you go. Let's see. Buy dips. Shake out the weak hands. There you go. Yeah, well, I think more and more people are starting to buy and hold Bitcoin too. I think you're starting to get more and more long-term thinkers in the space. It used to be just really speculators, people getting in and out, and there's still a lot of that. But I think we're seeing more and more people that are taking a buy and hold approach, which is also a good thing. So there's some good things happening. Plus 1 second a day. Yeah, mine's not even that fast. Mine's like plus 1/10 of a second a day. My 231 is insanely accurate. Nowadays, men wear dresses and makeup. There you go. And you know, when I see in these forums, when I see these pictures, these guys, like they show their watch on their wrist, right? They show a nice picture of the watch, and they've got all these like tattoos on their hand, even going up onto their hand, and you know, all different colors, and usually the tattoos are not that attractive, right? They're just kind of blah, right? There's nothing special about them. And I'm like, you know, you're worried about taking a nice watch and putting it on your wrist, and you've done all that to your wrist? I mean, sorry, but putting a nice watch on there isn't going to help the situation. So there's that. It's summer soon, guys. Want to get my barbecue out of my garage. There you go. Craig, is there such a thing as beta soy boys? I'm not sure what that is. That's a good question. I don't know. I'm not hip. I'm not a hipster. Unfortunately, mine isn't automatic. That is probably as good as it gets. Okay. Yeah, you got to get real accurate. You need to get the spring drive, or you need to get the 9F quartz. That's really the only way to get real accurate. Real super accurate. All right, we're going to wrap this puppy up. I don't know if Bitcoin is stabilizing or not. It's at 12,300. But like I said, we've had a significant run up the last several days, so I wouldn't be the least bit surprised if we're due for a little bit of an adjustment. Putting lipstick on a pig, Jeff Klein says. Yeah, you got that right. All right, folks. Click subscribe. Click the bell so that you'll get notifications when we go live. And we will go from there. Thanks for watching.